following is a presentation of MRE Uno, Division 2.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our final regional final here in Meteorological May. The Altimeter region will be wrapping up this round and will determine our final spot in the Final Four. I'm your host, G-Man, and we have Whitespider, number 2 seed of this region, making a second straight regional finals appearance, taking on what is seed-wise the underdog remaining in this tournament, Bob Ross, the 8th seed, the only player left who is not on the initial D2 Championship top 25. He looks to make a big statement here, make his first Final Four in his career, and also qualify for the LCQ. He's at 4 wins, so a win here will get him in both through the Final Four provisional and the 5-win criteria. So, big match for Bob Ross. He'll be hoping to get the win here today and not leave it up all the chance in this round 64 match in Justice July. Let's take a look at the bracket here. Again, last match of the round. But we also have our first Final Four match scheduled for later tonight, but let's run through the round one more time before we get into it. Start off with Red and Taco in the Drought region. Pretty good game until Red was able to get a bunch of +4s towards the end, get the advantage, win that one 5-3. Taco currently provisionally sitting in 5th for the final standings here in Meteorological May. We'll see if he ends up staying there after this one. And then we went over to the Barometer region, the 1-2. First time that's happened in D2 for a regional final between Cyan and Ridley. Started a little bit back and forth. Cyan was able to get a run through the draw cities and was able to pull away on that one. He wins that one 5-2, moves on to the Final Four, and wins the Barometer region. And then we had the Cyclone region, MyHail Ami, another 3-4 matchup, but this time the 4 seed was victorious as MyHail makes it back to the Final Four for the first time since April Airwave last season. He beats Ami 5-2, denies Ami of the repeat Final Four, and MyHail keeps things rolling in Meteorological May. And now we have one more match. Again, Whitespider 2 seed, Bob Ross 8 seed. I mean, you could see through this bracket here. Besides Bob Ross, very top-heavy tournament here, as 7 of the 8 being 4 seeds or higher, Bob Ross being the lone 8 seed. Remaining in the field, he looks to keep things going on a bit of a Nick-esque run in the Meteorological May. We'll see how that ends up going, but jump over to the stream here. I'm joined by no one because we don't have a commentator for this one, but it's all good. I'm sure we'll be streaming later tonight. I'll be co-commentating that one most likely, but this is going to wrap up the round here. We'll go to our players real quick and then get things going since we are not necessarily on the freest of time here, but still got a good window for this. We'll start with Whitespider, higher seed. You've made it back to the regional finals here. This is your 3rd appearance in your career, 2nd appearance this season, and you have really entered the bubble picture for making it to the D2 Championship as an at-large once again. What is going to be the mindset for this one to try to get the win this time, as you weren't able to get the job done in the last tournament? It is the hope, so we hopefully will see that. Had a mixed bag so far throughout this tournament. Some good games, some disastrous games. We'll see what we get here with this one. As we ironically we have 3 of our Final Four players joining the VC and watching to see who will be the fourth one. Again, My Hail Cyan will go at it later tonight for the first spot in the finale, and then Red is going to face the winner of this one, Bob Ross, taking a call real quick, so we're gonna have to wait a second for him before we get to him. But it's gonna be one of those games. Again, I remind you, Bob Ross needs this win to make it to the LCQ. Otherwise, it's gonna be that round of 64 match in Justice July. It's gonna be a do or die tournament or do or die match for Bob Ross. Ideally does not want to be forced into that game 7-ish scenario, so hoping he can get the win here. And then Justice July is more of just trying to find his way into the at-large conversation, since he is still a little bit behind the 8 ball. Okay, but we're still not here. I guess while we're killing the time, let's just take a quick look here. Through the LCQ. This is more just me reading the list here. So as of right now, Luke and J Money are in the D2 championship because of their wins in February Flurry and Archery April respectively. So they don't got to worry about this bold picture, but for the at-larges currently qualified for the LCQ, and really the people who you discussed for the bubble here, our three final four players: Cyan Titan, King of Red, My Hail, but then we also have Ridley, Ami, Geo, Taco, Joao, and Mark all in through their 5 wins. Joao and Ami both in via Final Four as well, along with Ridley. Whitespider, of course, as aforementioned, also in the LCQ, and then Bree, who is really riding on that Final Four from February, as they have not gotten any wins since that, and they stand at 3-1-3 and are really in a dire spot to make it as an at-large, and will probably have to go to the LCQ if they don't get a result in just July. All right, so Bob Ross is back here. We'll go to him. Bob Ross, you were the lowest seed. You were lowest seed remaining in this tournament here, and we've seen underdog runs before in this league. We've seen the 8-line win before a tournament in D2. It's been a breakout run, all things considered. What are your thoughts here, though, as you are 1 win away from making the LCQ make for the first time in your career? And any thoughts on how you're going to try to get the job done and to make your first Final Four?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm still not full. I still haven't fully figured out what the LSQ is, but it sounds cool, so that's great. And so I hope I win this game. And I don't know. I mean, like, I'm kind of new to this whole Uno thing, but I play a lot of sports. I've been the overdog. I've been the underdog a lot, so I know how to play from the underdog position. I'm not like phased by anyone left. Like they're a little. I think it's actually the opposite. I think everyone's always phased by the person that's not supposed to still be in. So I think I still have a bit of an advantage because I took the last winner, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone's a little bit like confused as why I'm here. I'm gonna use that to my advantage. I'm not intimidated at all, and yeah, just gonna keep playing like I've been playing.
All right, could end up being similar to the run Max Johnson did, not as an 8 seed, but as a 15 seed in this past tournament D1, where he gets the win. And again, the LCQ is the last chance qualifier, and it's basically the last chance to be in the D2 championship, which is the final tournament of the season. But yeah, that's down the line. We are in the game right now. We're gonna start up game number 1 here. Whitespider has the call. Best of 9, 1 power play. We'll see who gets the job done. We're going to start the action real soon. But until then, Whitespider's going to have the first call, and it's going to be 9. So Cyan's going to be our ref. He'll make sure we have a clean, fair match, as all refs do. And we will be underway in just a second. Here we go. Yellow +2 is going to be opener, and this is going to be an interesting opener, since it does give an opportunity to stack the +2 and make it a +4. So we'll have to see how this plays out, and Whitespider's gonna go for a wild red to open. Really interesting call there. And Bob Ross is gonna go with the red for now, but Whitespider may not have liked the yellow as we start the game off immediately with the ditto. Bob Ross runs out, so I mean right now this is working out for Whitespider here, as he's gonna just keep climbing the ladder of numbers. And Bob Ross is going to get the switch back to yellow. We'll see if Whitespider has any, or if he has to draw. He does have to draw, so no yellow off the start. A self-ditto from Bob Ross here. Seeing a lot of dittos early on, but both with a weak color at the beginning of this game. And now Bob Ross is continuing to climb up the number ladder here. We go up to 3. Whitespider gets a skip, but he's going to trade it in for something else here. Another self-ditto. Wow, that's 3 in this game so far. So again, continuing to climb up the number ladder here, and Bob Ross is going to run out, so we're not going to go up to 4 here. And Whitespider also got another yellow skip, so both yellow skips are gone, and gets another wild red, so that's not going to be great for Bob Ross. Cast a draw here. Whitespider going to go back on his train here, and a bit of a bizarre start to start this one. But Whitespider back on his comfortable color, but Bob Ross is going to switch to blue. This might work out for both. Haven't seen this one yet. Whitespider is no blue for Whitespider. And now this is a very bizarre starting hand here to kick things off. But Whitespider is going to go in the green. Bob Ross will have it, so Bob Ross not on 2 color here. Whitespider might be on 2 colors, just really how much of each he has. Climbing the number ladder again, we go up to 8. Now we go back into blue, which is not what Whitespider wants. Does he have the crossover? He does have the crossover into red. He likes that red, so we'll see if he can run that. Bob Ross does not like the red, though. Does Bob Ross have a crossover of his own? He has a reverse. Can he find something here? He might find a finish. It could end up being a bait. No, it is not. It's going to be a draw. It is 1 short of the finish here, but gives a +2 to the Whitespider. Throws him back a bit, but leaves the door open on the +2. Whitespider just going to close it. No penalty there. Let's go red 9, and really this is just going to be top decks or a number or a color switch here. Gets the color switch into blue. Not looking good for Whitespider. May need to find a switch here because I'm not really sure how much blue he has. A very back and forth opening game here. Whitespider's going to take a second. He's going to ditto it in the challenge. And Bob Ross does not have any blue, so he is still stuck on an island with that stray card. And now we go into yellow. It's another Uno from Bob Ross here. Whitespider's down to 3. Can he get down to 2 or maybe a run to the end here? It's been one pesky color or card for Bob Ross, and he is going to get to the end. Whitespider is going to get it with a few ices here and there, but Whitespider gets the win. He goes up 1-0, and that was a really good opening game, all things considered. Whitespider, talk to me about your emotions through that one, as there were a lot of times where it looks to be the verge of an ending there for Bob Ross and him getting the 1-0 on you.
Definitely a scary game there for sure. I was playing from behind for a lot of it. Definitely could have made some different plays, I think, but you know, hindsight is 2020, and confirmation bias tells me that I did a good job because I won. So, no, but a good game to you.
Yeah, and I mean, really good hold on the +4 there, because you definitely could have gone for that when Bob Ross swapped the blue, but took the risk that he didn't have blue, and it paid off. Bob Ross, I'm just curious what that last card was, because it just seemed like you were 1 away for the last minute of that game. So I'm curious what the card was and anything that maybe could have gone a little differently there.
Let me check because I had a few last cards. Let me go all the way back up here. So the first time it was, what was it? It was blue 9. It was the blue 9. And I played the blue 9. And then it was a yellow 1. And then switched to yellow. I played the yellow 1. And then it was the blue 4. And then that was it.
It seemed like the
So
draws
I was kind of
were
like,
teasing you there.
yeah, it's kind of, deck wasn't in my favor this game. But it's alright. Couldn't quite close it out.
Alright, well, a good
Plenty of game left to play.
Alright, yep, that is true. Best of 9, so a good opening game here, but we'll go to game 2. Whitespider has the call, just can't pick 9 cards. Gonna go up to 11. So let's see how this second game shapes up. It's Whitespider with an early lead. Alright, another special card start here as we go with the red skip. Didn't really jump on the +2 last time, but we'll see if there's a run to start off, and it is a run, but no skips involved. It's going to be a 3-card switch into the yellow off the reverses, and Bob Ross has no yellows. And again, another game where it might be both have an immediate weak color. We're seeing what Bob Ross's is right now. We'll see if Whitespider has one. I mean, he did just switch off the red, but doesn't always say that they don't have it. We've seen players try to be a little tricky with that, but Whitespider's going to go with the green 8 now. That should free up Bob Ross. He's going to place down the 0. Again, switches we've seen in this tournament, color switches have been the difference maker here as Whitespider finds the blue 0. And now that's an early Pandora's box. Kind of just going around and seeing what both have. Bob Ross is going to climb the ladder here. It goes up to 1. Whitespider is playing tricky here. A lot of light switches here. It goes into green now. Bob Ross going to continue it, but Whitespider kind of taking control of where this game's going. And it's a pretty good lead at the moment. Bob Ross goes back into the blue though. He wants to do the color switching now. Can Whitespider maybe get a quick one here? Yes, he will. He gets the skips. Blue and green was the magic for him, and yeah, red was actually the weak color for Whitespider. Did not have any red after that reverse, so was able to be fortunate on that start to get out of the red right away, and then was just able to run his 2 strong colors to the end. I don't really got much on that one, but Whitespider is up 2-0. Red has taken all the red. I guess the only thing I really have is if anything could have been a little different there, Bob Ross. But I mean, unless there was like a +4 or something, having skips on the 2 colors that they were switching back and forth on really is going to put you in a tough spot.
Yeah, no, I just didn't really have anything. It's alright, it happens.
All right, well, you got the call for game 3 here to try to turn this around. Again, still early, but all right, gonna take a risk here with 6. We've not seen a lot of low tier in this round so far, so Bob Ross is gonna dive it, and that's another special card start. Green skip this time, but this could be big if Bob Ross has a skip, he can maybe just go through with it, but it's only gonna be a green 4 to start. He does have a play at least. Whitespider with the switch to the red right away. Red reverse. Can he find more off this? Red 6, so already down to 3. Whitespider keeps it going on red. Can Bob Ross keep the run going, though? No, he cannot. And Whitespider can't either, so no immediate finish right now for either player on this 6-card start, as we might go into an early draw city, and looks like we do. Yeah, it's been an interesting path for both players to get to this point. Whitespider defeating February Flurry champion Luke in the last round in a 4-1 win, and then Bob Ross beating out on last debut left Marble Side 4-3 in the round of 16. Had a comeback win there, so looking to make a comeback here early as well, as it's going to be a switch into yellow, but it's going to go into the Wild's blue. And with how this has gone so far, this is actually going to be a pretty good advantage for Bob Ross. There's Whitespider has the double blue 8. Both tied at 2 here. Bob Ross gets the Uno. Whitespider runs out. Can Bob Ross get on the board here? Yes, he will with the color number efficiency here. Good stuff to Bob Ross. The gamble is going to pay off, and he is on the board now. It is 2-1. Another quick game here. Again, I don't really got much on that one. Kind of just played the cards, and it worked out. Bob Ross, the only thing, I'm assuming that Wild was off the draw there. That really seemed to be the big difference maker to help you get to the end there.
No, I had the Wilds at the start. I was just trying to hold on to it until the late game.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Oh, it's fine. I was content with drawing a little. I just wanted to hold on to the Wild.
Well, it works out there as you got the pathway to the finish there, and Whitespider running out on blue, let you get to the green 7 there. That was kind of on an island of its own. So, good stuff there. But we'll jump to game 4, and it's still your call. All right, gonna go a little higher this time. Gonna go with 8. This is more lower mid tier. And not going to get a special card start this time. It's going to be just a blue 9. But we'll see how this plays out here. Blue 6 is going to be the opener here from Bob Ross. The thing with low tier also, sometimes you get those starts where one of the players has to draw right away, but we don't get that. But Bob Ross is going to switch to the yellow. And that is not great for Whitespider. Doesn't really have any yellow off that start. Bob Ross looking to roll top deck from Whitespider. But Bob Ross still looking good here. As a little bit of a clean play there, but plays the yellow 0 now. And that's actually going to give Whitespider the opportunity to switch into red. Can Bob Ross respond? Yes, he can. Red 2. It's working out for Bob Ross so far. Can he plan A it? He might be able to plan A it. Reverse right there. Red 7. And there's the Uno. That could have been gone wrong, but gets away with it. Whitespider with a chance to respond. Green 7 gonna go for risky switch. Will it pay off? Yes, it will. Good ice there from Whitespider. As he looks to get rolling here, but no, it's gonna be a draw here. So ultimately, that ends up being a block. Gets a top deck green 4 here, so he looks to try to find his way back into this, but Draw City is going to continue here. And I mean, again, getting some of these top deck greens is going to help keep him low. And so once again, green skip into draw for Whitespider. So I'm going to do that twice at the start of game 1. But again, looking to find that card that will help him make his path more clear. Same with Bob Ross. Again, tied at 7. Looking to go up to 8 now. And Whitespider's going to keep going, so Draw City continues. We're at 2 minutes now, so longer than the last 2 games. And Bob Ross is going to break it with a wild here, so going to go with the, I guess the aggressive switch by using some ammo, but Bob Ross is going to break up the Draw City for now. And that is a big run from Whitespider, who is going to +6 Bob Ross and move it back into the green. I would think with the +6, Bob Ross has a little bit on green now, but what ammo does he end up picking up, if any? Green 2 for Bob Ross here, and Whitespider draws, so ultimately that's a more defensive move. We'll see if it pays off. But Bob Ross is going to get out of the green right away. Goes into the red. And Whitespider with no red as well, so stuck with yellow and blue at the moment. And for Bob Ross, potentially a big opportunity here to catapult himself back into this one. Make a bit of a card comeback and tie things up at 2-2. And homestand dominant series so far. All 3 games have been won by the player on the homestand. So Bob Ross looking to make that 4-4. Red reverse, maybe looking for a color switch here. Has the +2 as well. And are we going to get maybe a +6? Yes, we do. We go into blue now, so a little bit of payback there for the +6 before. It's going to end it as a 4-card run into the blue. It's 13-6 now. Question will be, what is the response from Whitespider? And it's going to be a blue 8, and again, continuing somewhat of a trend of climbing up the number ladder here. Bob Ross is going to split that in half by going to 4. Again, longest game of the series so far. Just past 4 minutes 25 seconds. And now we're going to be counting down a little bit. Yeah, Bob Ross is closer to the finish here, though, so he's going to be more on the aggressive to try to get the game win here. Yellow 3 is going to be the play now, and it's going to be a crossover from Whitespider. He wants none of that. Green was weak before. Well, we only saw 1 card played here. Does Bob Ross have any left? He has a +4. Does not want that green. Goes into yellow. Yellow reverse. Can he find the finish here? Nope, it's just the Uno. So may not have been, that switch may have cost him a direct run to the finish here, but we'll see what Whitespider does since he has a chance to respond. It's going to be a block on the blue 5 here. We'll see if that gets the game win. No, it's going to be number efficiency and also a ditto to end that one. So, ultimately, wrong play there as the color switch was not what he needed, but Bob Ross gets the game win, and we are tied 2-2. Bob Ross, any comments on that one? It's now back to even here after a pretty solid game, all things considered, and generally was able to get what you needed to close that one out.
But it was nicer to me this time, which was nice. And yeah, I just like, yeah, there's a couple times like, had he not dropped that +6 on me, I was pretty close to sealing it then. But you know, I just tried not to get flustered or panic. I kept calm, and it worked out. It was a good game. It was fun.
All right, we'll go to Whitespider here. Unfortunate play there that didn't give you what you need for the ice. Anything else different you could have done there, or was that just kind of a situation where you were kind of left with no other options?
I mean, at the end, I could have just played a yellow, I guess, and had him draw a little bit. I don't know if it would have really been enough to get myself back in the game. My cards were pretty bad, mostly having numbers. Yeah, it was a tough game. Not much to say. I think the momentum swung a couple directions, but eventually swung away from me. So hopefully, I'll get some of that back in the next homestand.
All right, well, your next homestand is coming up here as we go to game 5, but a quick look at the stats here. I mean, besides the skips, it's been somewhat even so far. Whitespider with one additional wild, but +4s, +2s, all even. Bob Ross with a slight advantage on reverse, and again, 6-1 of the skips here, but for the most part, pretty even on the ammo thus far. No, you cannot go 11. Anything else, though, is fine. I gotta go 1 up with 12. Again, both with power play, but they might save it for a series finisher, but we've seen sometimes in some of these games, this tournament, that sometimes using it earlier is the better play, but we'll see how it all unfolds. Again, you only get 1 power play, so gotta use it wisely. But blue 7 is gonna be the opener, and we start on blue once again. And blue 4, I mean, this has been a series that's been moving decently quickly thus far. No absurdly long games, so both players do like keeping it somewhat quick. So we continue with the blues. Blue skip, blue 0. Looking for that double gives him the advantage at the moment. Ross wants to keep it blue. Does Whitespider have anything left? He has a switch into green. So may have came at the right time for Whitespider there. We'll see. But he's going to initiate the first switch. We'll see what Bob Ross does in response. It's going to be a crossover into the red, so he wants red. Will the Whitespider like that or not? He will like that for now. Red 4 doubles things up. And Bob Ross red 7. And again, most of these games kind of just start with the run on numbers here. And that red switch is going to be a bit of a misplay from Bob Ross ultimately, as he is not able to find the number to get that switch. That red seemed to be a stray card, but we do get into the yellow now, so he is freed up a little bit, but Whitespider does have the lead. Bob Ross looking to keep things rolling on yellow. Real Whitespider getting closer and closer to that finish. Now Bob Ross with a bit of a play here on the yellow. Could be a yellow reverse. Does he have anything else? Has a +2, maybe see a +6 here. Ooh, no, it's gonna be a +4, so goes into green now. So it is a +6, but not in the typical way. Whitespider is thrown back a little bit, and Bob Ross in a similar spot to where Whitespider was just a minute ago. And Whitespider gonna try to levy some of the damage here as he throws a +2 and goes down to 6. Green 4 running the numbers here. A bit more calm and collected now, as both hoping to run the screen as long as they can. Whitespider doesn't really have much besides that green 1 though. Bob Ross runs out as well, so now we look into another draw city potentially. There it is, draw city underway once again in this series, but these draw cities tend to be somewhat quick, and there you go. Wild Red is going to break things up here. Bob Ross is going to be able to open with a red 6. We'll see what the response is from Whitespider. It's going to be a red 1. So now things back rolling on this red. Bob Ross runs out. Whitespider, you'd think, has a little bit more to offer on this red. He does. Climbs the ladder, goes to the 2. Bob Ross at the top deck, red 9 to keep himself afloat for now, but it's going to be going back to the red 1, which he drew on before, so that's a good play from Whitespider there, to hold out on that, and he actually gets to switch to the yellow, so that works out perfectly for him. Yellow 4, Whitespider in a good spot right now, and it's going to be a +4 finish there. 4 minutes 4 seconds. Whitespider able to play the cards right to get that switch he needed to close that one out, and it is once again another homestand win. It's going to be 3-2 Whitespider. So yeah, I mean, jumping to that one, Whitespider, I think you played that pretty well. Was able to kind of force Bob Ross out on that red, and get that switch, especially with the red 1 being the weakness there. But any comments on that one? Anything you picked up during that draw city that really helped you get towards that finish? And just general thoughts, because homestand's been winning all these so far, and you got another homestand game coming up.
Yeah, him top decking that red 9 was definitely huge for me because obviously he didn't have any reds before that, and knowing that he played that, he'd be left with no reds, and I had my red 1, which would help me play my awkward yellow 1. So that was definitely a crucial moment, having him top deck there. A bit unlucky. Um, Played that one maybe a little bit patient, which paid off eventually. And yeah, it was a good game.
All right, Bob Ross, again, kind of in a bit of a was kind of thrown into a bit of a bad spot there with the red there, and ultimately led the Whitespider to the win here. But we talked about it just a second ago. It's been all homestands so far. Anything you feel you can do to try break up the trend here to maybe give yourself the advantage?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like he kind of had the control of that whole game. Maybe I made a bit of a blunder with that color switch early on, but I had a plan. I saw the vision and I tried to do that to further my vision, but it didn't work out. But yeah, I just he was kind of running the show of that game, so I just kind of need a next game just like break his control right away, get him flustered.
All right, that will be the plan for Bob Ross here. We jump to game 6. I mean, we've talked about it before in some of these past streams. This ultimately is a game of 50-50s here. Whitespider's going to go back to the 11, which he can do. MCSR rules. But again, this is a game that sometimes comes down to 50-50s here, and ultimately it's just about trying to figure out which is the correct option and which one is the one that ultimately could foil you. But another blue start here, and that is not great for Whitespider as he draws on blue with 11 cards. Bit of a disastrous start here as Bob Ross is going to open up with a blue 1. Whitespider tries to play the green 21, changes to a 1. Maybe in a future version of Uno, but Bob Ross looking to roll on the green now, and he does with the green 0. Hardest card to switch off of. We'll see if Whitespider has the response. Might want to keep it green. Could also want to go back to blue. We'll see. It's green 2. Actually, no, Whitespider would not want to go back to blue. He doesn't have any blue right now. Maybe switch to a different color, but green 2. That point's void as Whitespider keeps it green. Will Bob Ross keep it green? Maybe switch it up a bit. We'll see. Green skip. Maybe we'll see a switch here. We'll see. Yes, we do. We go back into the blue, and that is utter dismay for Whitespider here, as he does not have much here. Bob Ross is going to keep rolling on the blue after he kind of got interrupted with the run with this green switch. Now, how much longer can Bob Ross run this? Blue has a +2 here and switches to yellow, which actually puts Whitespider in a bit of a worse spot here. As now he might have some blue, but he also has 18 cards, so a lot of potential options here. But if he didn't have many choices in the first place, and also now didn't get much here, this could be a disaster for Whitespider. Gonna have to take a second to sort through the cards here. Gonna go with the immediate switch into green. Feels like Bob Ross does not have any more. But Bob Ross has the crossover into red. And Bob Ross in a really good advantage state right now. Might force Whitespider to pull out some of his ammo here. I'm going to do a little bit with a slap +2. Doesn't throw too much right now, but keeps himself afloat. Bob Ross still rolling on this red. What will Whitespider do? You'd think he'd have a few cards of every color with the amount he's gotten right now. Red 6. I mean, the only real question right now for Whitespider would be the blue. But you'd think you get a little bit of blue from that +6. Bob Ross keeps rolling things down here. Whitespider again in a spot where he needs to figure out what he wants to do. Plays another number card here, looking for Bob Ross to run out. Bob Ross is going to go for the power play here. He wants the game win. Gets the Uno call, and that's a good use of power play there because there was a very good chance Whitespider could have blocked that. But Bob Ross uses the power play, and that is the first away win. And he breaks the trend right now. Bob Ross, thoughts on using the power play there to get the number efficiency and get the win there? And I'm curious what that +2 was because it seems like you were on a pretty good roll there, even with that.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of debating the power play for a while. I thought about using it earlier, but I just thought like, I really didn't want him to get up 2 with only one more game to win. It seems to put him in a really position where he has the momentum. I kind of have to really fight. So I just wanted to tie the series up, and like I said before, this game I wanted to kind of break his control and momentum that he had the last game, and also just break the trend of the homestand advantage to kind of get him flustered. So decided to use it there. Maybe it'll bite me later because now I got no power play, but you know, I'm standing by the decision for now. And then, sorry, what was the other part of your question?
What were the 2 cards you drew from the +2?
Oh yeah, let me check. I got pretty lucky with those two. Let's see, where do you play that +2? Right here. Okay, yeah. So before that, I had a red 4 and red 7, and I drew a red 5 and a blue 7. So it was a pretty lucky +2 draw for me where it didn't really upset me. Like it didn't give me any greens or yellows, or I didn't really have any way to get to them. So kind of was able to keep me on track, which was lucky. But yeah.
All right, Whitespider, Bob Ross uses the power play to make it 3-3 here. Any comments on anything maybe that could have been a little different from you there? As you did get thrown back early, the 18 cards as you were trying to kind of crawl your way back, but ultimately, a little too much there as it's now tied.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I really would have had a chance to get back in that game. I had some good number connectivity, I guess, but there's a massive deficit to climb out of. Maybe if he didn't have that play at the end, I could have forced him to draw a little bit, but I don't know. I am kind of happy, I guess, in the sense that we're tied and I have my power play and he doesn't, but still sketchy place to be in the match. So we'll see how it goes.
And sketchy is a good way to describe it here as we go into a very critical game 7 here. Bob Ross is going to have the call here. He just broke the trend of the homestand here. We'll see if he can reignite it here and possibly get a momentum swing as he will have the call. Yes, you are. All right, he's going to go 6. Going to go for another risk here. Yellow reverse, another special card start. on this 6-card start, and once again, no one's gonna jump to use it to their advantage, as this game is kind of starting similar to the last 6-card start. As Bob Ross plays the yellow number, and then we switch into red right away. Keeps running it down here. Both running it down here. Both down to 3. This is looking very plan A so far. Bob Ross runs out. Does Whitespider keep it going here? Again, the gamble worked for Bob Ross last time. So far, was looking good, but now not in the best spots. Wild blue, and that puts a huge advantage for Whitespider here. Bob Ross still has nothing, and this could be curtains for Game 7 here. Uno for Whitespider. Can he find the finish? Still nothing from Bob Ross. Still nothing, and there's the number efficiency right there, and the gamble is going to work out for Whitespider there. 6 cards does not work out this time for Bob Ross, and Whitespider now 1 away after a sub-minute game. 59 seconds on the clock for that one. But yeah, pretty low average time for the series. I mean, 2 minutes 50 seconds. We've seen lower, but yeah, again, the gamble did not really work out for Bob Ross there, and the trend of homestand is now losing games. So Bob Ross in a bit of a precarious situation now going into game number 8 here, but he still has the call. So we'll see how he tries to adjust now after the unfortunately kind of getting snake eyes on that game 7. And I don't really have much for other players, so we'll jump into game number 8. All right. All right, Bob Ross, it'll be your call.
Was it my call still?
Yeah, it's still your call. All right, gonna go the opposite end with the full send. Not a bad idea here. I haven't seen this in a bit. Another reverse. We are really liking the reverses here in this series. No one's really been taking advantage of the special card starts so far, so we'll see if that'll change here or if we just keep it with the numbers. Again, 4-3 now. Whitespider 1 away from the series victory. Bob Ross needs to win these next 2 games to keep his tournament alive. And once again, we do not use the reverse here. We just go with numbers here. But this is kind of the tricky thing with the full send here. You really just don't want to be the first one to draw. So both players don't want to expose their hand early. As the Blues continue the run. Double play from Whitespider gives himself the advantage. And Bob Ross looking to even things out here. And there's the switch into yellow. And then with this 3rd card, no, we're going to keep the run going. Both yellow reverses in Bob Ross's hand. Will we keep this extended? No, it's going to be a 4-card run. But that will give Bob Ross the definitive lead as we go into yellow. Again, we know what the win condition is going to be for Whitespider with the power play here. So Bob Ross looking to do anything he can to try and get himself ahead. But yellow is going to be the run right now. And Whitespider continuing to barrel down on these numbers here. But Bob Ross in a decent position at the moment. And kind of controlling the pace of the game in terms of the colors. So goes into green now. Whitespider still has not found a draw yet. And just as I say that, Whitespider draws. It's going to be big for Bob Ross here, especially if he can run this green. He is going to place down the green 0. Going to try to make it tough for Whitespider to switch. He cannot switch. And Bob Ross is rolling now, looking to force game 9. Top deck from Whitespider here. Green skip. Can Bob Ross get the win here? No, it's just going to be Uno. And another tricky spot for Whitespider here. This 5 has been a bit precarious for him most of the series. He's going to go for the switch here. Goes into red. It's the 2nd time in the series. It's a ditto finish. Wow. And we are going into a game 9. Bob Ross, that is the 2nd time you were able to do that in this series. This time on the red 5. Talk me through your thoughts on that one. You were just able to control the colors throughout that one and you get the job done, and that was without the use of any wilds as well. So, any thoughts on technically a Plan A game, but one that was worked out nonetheless?
Yeah, I mean, like obviously, yeah, the red 5 at the end was really lucky, but yeah, I think I did a pretty decent job managing my cards. Honestly, like I got a bit lucky where I didn't really have anything to throw me off, but still think I played solid that game, and glad that we're going to game 9.
Well, this one going to game 9, loser of this one is guaranteed fifth. Only game 9 of the round so far, so Taco officially finishes this tournament in 6th place. But Whitespider, that's the second time you got bit by that in this series. Bit of an unfortunate one there, but it seemed like you were kind of treading water there for the back half of that game. But you do have the card call for game 9 with the power play. What's the mindset going into this one here, especially with what we see in this series so far, and this being a winner takes all game here, especially for Bob Ross, who needs this win to make the LCQ.
Yeah, that game definitely sucked a little bit for me, but I have to remember that I am still massively favored here because I have the start and the power play. So I really just gotta hope for a lucky or just not an unlucky start with my cards. At least have a little bit of ammo and hopefully I can close it out.
All right, I mean, this has been a good series so far. White Spirit's gonna try to go with 9 here to wrap things up. 9 for game 9. And there it is. We are underway. It's another reverse. The reverses are not going away on this start, and no one wants to use them. Wow, that has to be like the 5th time we've seen a reverse to start the game. I'm gonna have to check that once this is done, but that is insane. But again, running the numbers on blue, final game of the series. Bob Ross needs this win to make the LCQ. White Spider needs it to make the final 4. And put himself in a better position for the D2 championship bubble. As White Spider is gonna go for the quick switch here. Again, we know what the win condition is gonna be with the power play. It's just gonna be, can he get there? But man, I'm just kind of hoping with how this series is going. We have not really seen any massive +4 runs so far. 3 of those reverses. Okay, so it is 5 ammo card starts, but only 3 have been reverses. White Spider with a double here. Yep, Bob Ross with a +2. But that will actually give him the lead here. But for this one, what was I gonna say? 3 reverse starts in a row. That's where it was coming from. So technically all of those chained. But yeah. Oh, that's not gonna be good for Bob Ross. Has to draw on the yellow, but green 9 gonna be in White Spider in advantage at the moment. I was gonna say this. I'm hoping the +4 stay away for this one. We've really seen very few. It's gonna be a top deck yellow 9 to possibly keep himself alive. White Spider not too happy about that one. And he's going to have to draw, and that could be a game-saving top deck for Bob Ross there. As he's going to force a draw city. Wow, we are running out the gates here in game 9 right away. You got to wonder if with White Spider, maybe it was 1 away in that situation. But couldn't quite get it. But Bob Ross is going to have a reversed run here. Goes into the red now. 3-card run there. And all the pressure in the world here. Got to be felt here. Again, Bob Ross has no power play, so we can't get that assured run to the finish. White Spider with the red 8. Bob Ross has nothing on the red left. Was hoping for the right number and just did not get it. White Spider looking to take his advantage with this. Gets a top deck 9. White Spider goes into the 1. Again, Bob Ross looking for that switch. Doesn't get it. Can White Spider find a switch? He does. He goes into green. Back to where he wanted it before. Now Bob Ross left trying to think what he needs to do. Green 6. White Spider could be close here. Green 4. No, Bob Ross finds the +4. And that, oh my god, and that's gonna do it. Bob Ross finds a way to make it back. That is an unbelievable way to end it. Whitespider, I think, might have been one away there to get the win. Absolute heartbreaker there, but the underdog run for Bob Ross stays alive, and he has made it into the LCQ by the brink of his teeth in that one. Absolutely insane game. Bob Ross, will go to you. What were your thoughts throughout that entire game? That was a lot of moments where he could have gone all wrong there, but able to find the +4 right at the end to get the win. Walk me through that one and how that all unfolded.
Oh wow, yeah, okay. So I mean, just going into that game, like I knew that he had the momentum with being the start in the power play. So I drew that +2 and the +4. I had that like with my original hand. I used the +2 early because I just wanted to get that early lead, so he can't just couldn't get the jump on me with the power play. And I was just kind of saving that +4 for a closer or like a safety if it happened. That red 9 pull was really, really lucky. I actually okay, well, I would have just played my +4, but it would have thrown off my plans a little bit because I really wanted to hold on to that +4. But yeah, that red 9 was a really lucky draw for me. But then yeah, I just tried to keep calm while also trying to maintain a decent lead, so he couldn't just get the power play jump on me and close it. And then um yeah, I mean, I was a little scared with that because let's see, my last 3 cards was the blue 6, the blue +2, and the wild +4. Wait, no, what am I talking about? Hold on, wait one sec. Yeah, okay, so I had the green 6, the blue +2, the blue wild +1, the blue 6. I knew he was kinda getting short on cards, so I was really scared there. I thought I was taking a big risk holding on to my +4 there because I knew he had, like, 3 cards left, so there's a lot if he had, like, 1 reverse, there was potential for him to get a power play to finish it on me, but I figured if I make it through that next turn, then I have the game unlocked as long as he doesn't throw any pickups at me, so I held on to it, risk paid off, and, yeah, I think I had a decent game, and it was definitely Whitespider was great. He definitely had me flustered for a little bit, especially in the early game, and yeah, it was fun playing against him.
A relatively quick series, but definitely the best series of the round. Whitespider, will go to you. Absolute heartbreaker there. 2 cards left before that 3 card run to the finish from Bob Ross. Any comments that anything that could have gone a little differently there, or just unfortunately was just a little bit of luck fell flat at the end there. But just walk me through the ending of that one and what the last 2 cards were, because I felt you were really close there.
Yeah, I had a green and a wild card. Um, so I would have had to play out, obviously. If I'd gotten a single other like ammo card the entire game, then I would have been able to close it out earlier. That really sucked to end like that, but GG's.
An unfortunate end for Whitespider there, but um, still really good tournament for him. Finishes off 5th, and he continues his quest to try and make it into the D2 championship as he gets back-to-back regional finals appearances. We'll see how that goes for him, but we'll jump over to the bracket here. Bob Ross continues the underdog run. He makes it to the Final Four. He will also have that LCQ security, so now that is technically 14 people eligible for the LCQ, although really it's 12 because the tournament winners aren't in it, of course. So again, that the threshold's 18, so need at least 4 more spots to fill that up. But we got a few people here who are at 4 wins going into this next tournament, including Arnhem and Pikachu, who look to do just that, and then a few people with 3 wins in a DQ, who are in a relatively good position. We'll see how that unfolds, but again, need 4 more people to qualify for the LCQ, either through a Final Four appearance or 5 wins. Otherwise, you start dipping down a little bit into the ranks with the 4 wins and a DQ win, which is currently no one, but could be a few people after this next tournament. But we'll see. That's going to be something to watch out for going into the final tournament of Justice July. where everyone's everyone's fate of their season will be determined. But congratulations to the Bob Ross on the win. 5-4 gets the job done. He will face Red in the final four. We'll see what happens there, but that'll do it from us. We got our first Final Four match later tonight in about 3 hours here. Make sure you tune in for that one. But until then, on behalf of the MRE Uno team and everyone who came out to watch, thank you all so much for watching this stream, and we will catch you all later for some more MRE Uno Meteorological May action. But until then, I'm your host, G-Man. We'll throw it off the short here in a few hours, but thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you for Cyan vs. MyHill later tonight at 9:30 p.m. Till then, take care. Everyone have a great day.
This has been a presentation of MRE Uno, Division 2.